we're not debating the issue yet. Mike, this is your local board opportunity.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak. I perhaps do draw attention to the report itself in regards to local board views and implications, that these were not specifically taken into account. And I think this is an area of issue, and I have got our resolution on the 17th of March, which probably ought to be circulated to all councillors if they haven't already got it. But in it, it asked the Mayor, Chief Executive and the Chief Executive of Auckland Council Investments to do everything within their powers to dissuade the ports from implementing the consents to extend the Bledisloe Wharf, and if also necessary to request or demand a moratorium on it. Backing it up was a recommendation to, which I'm really pleased about the report today, to bring forward the planned study stage 2, so that consideration of that can be done before anything actually happens to the ports. And part of the concern always was that if we actually do put the wharves in, that creates facts on the ground. It also makes it easier for any reclamation between the wharves to occur in the future. But I think the important thing perhaps coming out of today's meeting is that when we're looking at the harbour, we're looking at the harbour not just on the people using it, but also public access to the harbour, and that includes marginal strips and a whole range of things. We've created, and that's perhaps my concern, that that the local boards, particularly Waitemata and ourselves, weren't brought in earlier, is to reduce the error factors that council can get themselves into, because there's no surprise that we're actually in this situation. We had a run of it when someone decided, or woke up one morning and decided that we need a rugby stadium on the water's edge some years back.
Let's not go back there, thank you.
Sorry?
Mike,
there is a sense of deja vu, though.
So
but the point I'm saying is that we weren't against.
Minutes, Mike.
Yeah, I wasn't. We weren't against the idea of a rugby stadium, but that probably wasn't the location. Perhaps where the Vector Centre was better. So there is early warning from one point of view, but I think what you need to do is build community confidence, and I'm encouraged by His Worship's comments on that. That as a council we need to act in good faith, and we need to be looking at that sort of collaborative approach, so to develop that trust and confidence in the process going forward. Now, looking at what's being suggested, the one flaw I see in it, and part of the reason why we're here today, is the flawed ownership structure of Ports of Auckland. And the resolution that I've got, we recommended that the port land and wharves be transferred into public ownership. So we get a division when we're looking at Ports of Auckland, that Ports of Auckland should only be dealing with the operations, and the port land and wharves goes into some other public ownership or directly under council. And we wouldn't probably end up with the problems we've actually got at the moment, because we actually are putting Ports of Auckland in a really difficult position, because they're charged with making a profit.
Remember, this is exactly what probably the next year the port study will focus on, with all of our stakeholders involved.
And so
I need to go into that now.
Okay, so specifically, I think that needs to come through quite clearly as one of the things that needs to be looked at is the ownership structure of Ports of Auckland, and that division between operations and ownership of public land and wharves.
Okay, that's great.
Okay,
thanks, Mike.
thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Well said, Mike.
Lovely. Thank you. Okay, so the recommendation has been moved and seconded. Now, Councillor Lee, you were wanting to raise an amendment. Do we have that?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We have a question on.
I just wanted to add.
I just want to know what Councillor Lee's amendment is, and then
I'll tell you,
take
Madam
some brief
Chair.
questions.
It requests that the recommendation includes reference to the aspirations of the people of Auckland.
Okay.
They've been left out of the recommendation for some oversight. But
Okay. So remember,
some oversight.
councillors, remember that the actual focus of this report is that we're actually handing the process back to the people of Auckland and the stakeholders, and an ideal process. It's
I
actually the
just want to reinforce
stakeholders,
that.
I'm speaking, councillor. It's the stakeholders who will design the terms of reference, the process, and deal with the issues of how this will be put together. So we'll
Terms of
take
reference come back
questions.
to us.
Councillor Cooper, you had a question.
It's just around, still in there in C, oh, we've got H's and A's.
Yeah.
In C, says here, and council will make decisions on any matters arising from the study. I just wanted to, or if you just change, is this, because we've got quite a suite of recommendations here. You can just see AHH here.
Madam Chair, do you want Jacques to run through them?
Well, I'm just, what we're going to do, we're kind of racing away. I can see everyone's bursting at the seams.
Well,
You
it's
are
just
quite
confusing
right.
having the amendment going up
We
there.
are-
and we've got something else.
Why don't we take a breath? We're doing a lot of taking breaths at the moment. Why don't we do, as has been suggested, and get our wise Jacques to go through
We have the report.
Why don't we have the report? That's a good idea. My gosh, we might get the facts on the table. That would be new.
Thank you.
Jacques,
I'll
if
hold
you
my
can run us
question, Madam
through,
Chair.
then I've got Councillor Fletcher, Member Taipari, Councillor Clow, and others for questions. So we'll go to Jacques. Yep, we'll get to you when Jacques has done his presentation. Thank you, Jacques.
Madam Chair, I'm not sure that I can add a great deal. A lot has already been said. So essentially, we're asking committee today for two things. The first is bring forward the date for the study. You know, as it is, as of an older resolution, it's at the end of the unitary plan. So one, bring forward the date. Two, direct the chief executive to go away and design the process for the study. So how might the collaborative group work? How might people get onto that group? What kind of structures do we need? Develop a draft scope for the study, all those kinds of things, and bring it back to the committee, and then this committee will make a decision on whether that is the way to go forward or not. That is essentially what we're asking today.
Okay. So we don't need to pack every last bit of information into this, because that will be defined through the process and with our stakeholders. So let's just hold that before we try and extend the recommendation out to 5 pages long and trying to write the terms of reference on the hoof today. I've got Councillor Fletcher.
Madam Chair, am I able
Oh,
to get
sorry,
the question
Linda.
answered?
Sorry, Councillor
Yeah,
Cooper.
sorry,
Back
thank
to you, and then Councillor Fletcher,
In
Taipari,
C,
Clow, and others.
where it says, and the council will make decisions on any matters arising from the study, I feel that's rather ambiguous, and I'm just concerned that it means that, you know, we have obligations with the port that we don't do anything illegal. I mean, we've got to make sure we're not meddling in management, and so I am concerned that this broad recommendation, part of the recommendation, just sort of gives us carte blanche to heave-ho into there and do anything we like. I'd really like to think that we need to have parameters that we operate legally, and that we operate in a measured way rather than political knee-jerk reactions around some of the matters arising. But hopefully the heat might go out of it by the time we get the study. But I just feel that I can just see someone coming back in a year going, it says we can do anything we like, because it says we can make decisions on anything arising from that study, and I don't think that's sound, Madam Chair.
I think that's not the intent, but the concern's noted. Thank you. Councillor Fletcher.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I welcome the opportunity to have a little more light thrown on this issue. Can you, through you, Madam Chair, can I ask Jacques, we know that the cruise industry is growing because the international travelling community want to see our unique Waitemata and Hauraki Gulf Islands, and that is why they're wanting to come into Auckland. Can you tell me why you didn't give more weighting and greater interpretation to what environmental means? Because in today's world, there are lots of definitions around environmental. Can you give me the definition that you're working on for the incorporation and the wording that you have there?
Through the chair. To be honest, Councillor Fletcher, I was simply through that trying to reflect the decisions that the previous two committees have already made.
Jack,
So-
speak into the mic.
Yeah.
Get close, mate.
So really just trying to reflect the decisions that previous committees have made. So it is essentially the words from the previous two committees. I think the way to answer you is that is the purpose of us actually going away now and look at a draft scope for the study and clarify all of those things very clearly and bring that back to you. So I have no particular intention yet of what that may or may not mean.
Madam Chair, I want to explore this just a little bit further because I don't want to be in the situation of trying to move amendments as we move through this. It is really important to me that officers understand that we as a group of governors of the city do want to put some weighting on environmental. So can you, Jack, give me an understanding of how officers might interpret this and moving forward?
So, Councillor Fletcher, this is not the discussion for now. And just reminding councillors, I know this is a new process, but some of this is actually handing the power back to our stakeholders in our community. There will certainly be representatives from the environmental community as part of that stakeholder group, and they will flesh that out. This is not going to be a terms of reference designed by committee. So this is far too early for that discussion. Member Taipari.
Kia ora, Madam Chair.
Go along the
Just
amendment route.
taking on board what Jacques has just said in terms of maintaining the alignment with the previous resolutions. I'm a bit lost on where we worked very hard over those committees over the years to have the sentence with the broad objectives scoping the economic, environment and cultural impacts of the port. But after the cultural impacts and the other resolutions, it was and the opportunities for Māori. Yet I see opportunities for Māori now slipped down 3 sentences away from cultural impacts. So my question is, why has that been moved? And what better the question is, can it be put back to how it was to maintain the alignment and consistency that was proposed?
Good idea.
I don't think there's any problem doing that. We'll just cut
Thank
back,
you.
paste it, pop it back.
Problem with Maori,
I don't
but
think
problems
that
with
was
environment.
intended to
No,
change the
Just keep
focus.
Just get it
more
right.
stuff in.
Okay,
In between.
got
Cut and paste.
Councillor Clow.
Yeah, I've actually put in an amendment, which I believe I have a second in, Councillor Darby. There's nothing radical in what I've done. I've just, what I consider tightened it up by actually adding 4 semicolons and a colon and 4 other words. Because there isn't just one objective in that resolution there. There actually are 5 objectives, and so hence I would like mine discussed at some stage as well. Can I just reflect on my amendment, adding semicolons, perhaps actually gives it a little bit better for Mr. Taipari, because if you look at that original one from the 2013, the study of economic, environment and cultural impacts and opportunities for Māori, it's like that's what the study's about, whereas I don't think that is exactly what the study's about. That's about one aspect. So I've broken it into 5 objectives, and one of them is the opportunities for Māori. So I think that tightens it up and makes it more specific. But I've added in my amendment after the issue of port location, I've added in port specialisation, and then in this second to last, the relationship between the port, the waterfront and Auckland's urban form.
Madam Chair, my
Yeah.
suggestion about the aspirations of the people of Auckland appears to have disappeared.
No, we've added it in. This is Councillor Clowe's
I beg your pardon,
semicolon one.
thank you.
We've simply added yours in. We don't need it as an amendment, Councillor. So can I whilst we're happy to now add everything in, councillors, I just, and IMSB members, I just caution you, this is us trying to now design the whole study while we sit here. All we're doing today is to say, can we move forward and not do it after the unitary plan? Can we do it now? That'd be great.
And that's
And
the
what's
only
more,
decision we're
can we
making.
hand how it's done back to the people of Auckland and the stakeholders? We're falling back into the same trap of us thinking we are the font of all knowledge around this table and we will design it for everybody. How about we have a bit of faith in our community and our stakeholders who've showed intellect and passion for this area, and actually give them an opportunity to have the say. So I'm going to constrict this, and I will irritate most of you, but I make no apologies. Councillor Darby.
Thank you.